On my graduation day, my mom wrote, "We're not coming. You know why." An hour later, my sister posted a picture from their road trip, matching shirts, holding signs, proud of our scholar. Her son. I texted back. Noted. That evening, I adjusted the tuition support I'd set up and paused their access to the education grant. For days later, my dad sent, "Why are you doing this?" I simply replied, "I graduated," then turned off my notifications. It was supposed to be the biggest day of my life. After 6 years of working full-time, attending night classes, and sacrificing every weekend and holiday for textbooks instead of parties, I was finally graduating. Not just from college, but from the version of myself who never thought he'd amount to anything. I was the first in my family to get a degree. I'd saved every penny, applied for scholarships like my life depended on it, because it kind of did, and now, July's sun beaming down, cap and gown pressed, I was about to walk across that stage. That's when I got the message from Mom. "We're not coming. You know why." No congratulations. No, we're proud of you. Just that one cold sentence, like a slap in the face. I stared at it, heart racing, trying to make it make sense. But I knew exactly why. Because this day wasn't about their golden boy. It wasn't about my sister's son. It wasn't about their manufactured family image. It was about me, the one who paid the bills, kept their lights on during foreclosure, and quietly built a better future with no one cheering on the sidelines. An hour later, my phone buzzed again. Instagram. My sister. A photo of them all on a road trip. Matching shirts. Balloons. Homemade signs. Proud of our scholar. Her son, holding up his middle school diploma. A party. A cake. Smiles so wide it made me nauseous. I stared at it, then texted back one word. Noted. That evening, I logged into the financial account I'd set up 5 years ago, the education grant I'd been funding out of guilt, obligation, and hoped that maybe one day they'd finally see me. I adjusted the tuition support, paused their access. 4 days later, a message from Dad. "Why are you doing this?" I didn't explain. I didn't defend myself. I simply replied, "I graduated," then turned off my notifications. You want to know what's wild? I paid for my cousin's first semester of community college. She dropped out halfway through and never said thank you. I co-signed a car loan for my uncle because his credit was shot after the divorce. He still drives it. Never once made a payment. But the cherry on top? I built an education grant, a literal trust fund, for my nephew. Not even my kid. My sister's son. Every month I put money in, thinking, at least someone in this family will get a head start. At least someone will have what I didn't. That was the biggest joke of all. Because while I was building a future for them, they were erasing me from their present. Let me rewind. I grew up invisible, not in a sad orphan kind of way, but in the family scapegoat who somehow still pays for dinner kind of way. My sister, let's call her Claire, has always been the sun in our parents' universe. She could fail math, crash dad's car, and steal $200 from mom's purse and still be called our bright star, just under pressure. I got straight A's. Don't brag. Worked 2 jobs at 17 to help cover bills. That's what family does. I remember one Christmas, Claire showed up late, drunk, and with a guy who literally hit on mom. Everyone laughed. When I told them I had to leave early to cover my restaurant shift, mom said, "Oh, come on. It's not like you're a doctor." That was the running joke in our house. That I wasn't real successful. Because I didn't wear a suit. Because I didn't have a corner office. Because I fixed HVACs and stocked shelves and did night classes while my sister played Instagram influencer on unpaid internships. But I still paid the mortgage the year dad lost his job. Still wired $700 when mom's insurance lapsed and she didn't want to deal with paperwork. Still sent money every single month to cover emergency stuff for Claire and her kid, even though she somehow managed to afford bi-weekly salon trips and matching holiday outfits for Instagram. And through it all, I never said a word. Not when they forgot my birthday for 3 years straight. Not when they accidentally left me off the family group chat. Not even when Claire's son, the same one I was funding college for, called me kind of boring during Thanksgiving and my mom agreed. But the graduation day? That was nuclear. That was the moment I realized I wasn't family. I felt more like a provider than a person. I'd gotten up early, bought myself a suit, ironed my shirt 3 times, practiced my walk across that stage like it meant something, because it did. It was everything. When I opened that message from mom, I felt something snap. And when I saw that photo, My family on a road trip, celebrating him. That break turned into something else. Rage. Not loud, not explosive. The cold kind. The kind that makes you look at numbers, not memories. So I opened that grant portal. Froze it. Locked it. Sent a notice to the bank. They'd have enough for a few more weeks, tuition prepaid. But after that, nothing. No more top-ups. No more support. No more me footing the bill while they treated me like the family intern who just won't quit. I expected silence. What I got? A barrage. Text from Dad. Caps lock. This isn't fair. Your nephew is in school. Don't make him pay for our arguments. Argument. There was no argument. There was a betrayal. I'd been loyal to a fault, and they'd used that loyalty like a leash. Want to hear the kicker? Claire called me 2 days after I froze the account. No apology. No shame. Just, hey, I think something's wrong with the tuition grant. Can you fix it? Tyler needs his book allowance this week. Her voice? So casual. Like we were talking about a Netflix password. I just said, nope, nothing's wrong. You sure? She said, starting to sound annoyed. Because I got a notice. I know, I cut in. I sent it. Long pause. What do you mean you sent it? I mean I locked it. You're done. The silence on the line? Delicious. Then came the storm. Are you kidding me? Tyler is just a kid. So was I when I paid your rent. You can't do this, he's your family. No, I said. He's your family. You all made that clear. For days after graduation, Dad called. I was standing in line at Target, holding a shower curtain and a pack of ramen, finally getting around to furnishing the tiny apartment I could now actually afford to live in without having to siphon my paycheck into my family's financial black hole. My phone vibrated. Dad. I stared at it, thought about letting it ring. Then curiosity got the better of me. Hello. Why are you doing this? No, hi. No, how was graduation? Just that, shouted into the receiver like I'd just committed a crime against humanity. I kept my voice calm. I graduated. What? You heard me. You're punishing everyone because we couldn't make it to your little. My what? I snapped, loud enough that the woman behind me in line blinked. My little graduation? You mean the day I spent 6 years working toward while putting your bills and Claire's kid ahead of my own future? That little graduation. Silence. Then a sigh. That world-weary, Dad knows best sigh he'd been perfecting since I was 12. Look, I know you're upset. No, I said, cutting him off. You don't know. You've never known. You think this is easy for us? He barked. You think we enjoy asking you for help? I think you enjoyed not having to pay for anything. Don't be dramatic. I nearly laughed. Dramatic? After everything? You guys left me off a trip to celebrate someone else's achievements with my money. And now you're mad that the ATM stopped spitting bills? Cry me a river. Don't bring your nephew into this, he snapped. He didn't do anything wrong. No, I said. He just reaped the benefits while you all pretended I didn't exist. Dad went quiet again. Then, as if it would explain everything, he said, we didn't think it would matter to you. Those words landed like a brick to the chest. They didn't think it would matter. Like I was incapable of needing love, or recognition, or even basic respect. I hung up mid-sentence. Didn't even say goodbye. Just dropped the phone into my pocket and walked out without buying anything, because I needed both hands to keep from punching the wall. That night, Claire showed up. No warning. No call. Just bam. Her SUV parked half-cocked on the curb outside my apartment. Hazards blinking like a siren announcing the arrival of chaos. She didn't knock. She pounded. I opened the door to find her already mid-rant. What is wrong with you? I leaned against the doorframe. Good to see you too. Tyler can't register for fall. He was crying last night. Crying. Is that what you wanted? To ruin his future because you're mad we missed your little ceremony? There it was again. Little. Claire, I said, I'm going to say this once. You will not gaslight me in my own doorway. Oh my God, you will not belittle what I've accomplished. You will not pretend like your child's feelings matter more than 6 years of my blood, sweat, and zero sleep. Why are you acting like this? She snapped. Because I finally realized what I am to you. She blinked, arms crossed. I'm not your brother. I'm your bank. And banks don't feel. They don't cry. They just dispense cash until they close. She was quiet now, lips pursed. I was at your baby's shower, I said. At every birthday. Every milestone. I was the one who babysat when you wanted date nights. Who stayed up at night fixing your budget spreadsheets because you couldn't figure out how to stop buying bath bombs and fake plants. Claire looked like she'd swallowed a lemon. You let mom send me that message. You knew what it meant. I didn't write it. You posted the photo. She didn't deny it. Just looked away, mouth twisted, like the truth physically hurt her to hear. You think you're so righteous now, she said bitterly. Like you've never made mistakes. I have, I agreed. And the biggest one was letting all of you think I owed you something. She turned on her heel without another word. Slammed her car door hard enough that my neighbor peeked out the window. I didn't flinch. Let them stare. Let the whole world watch me finally take my life back. The next morning, the group chat exploded. Family Chat 1.0. Mom, this is not okay. Tyler is just a child. Dad, we sacrificed for you too. Don't forget that. Aunt Rachel, can we please stop the drama? It's tearing the family apart. Claire, you're a monster. You don't deserve what we did for you. What they did for me. I stared at that message like it was in another language. I was about to delete the chat entirely, until I had a better idea. I screenshotted the graduation picture. Me in my cap and gown, holding my degree, standing alone in front of the campus fountain. Then I wrote one sentence. Me. I built everything you see here without any of you. And left the chat. I stepped away for peace of mind. Blocking my entire family wasn't some symbolic gesture. It was survival. I wasn't just removing them from my phone. I was evicting them from my mind. From the space they'd rented in my chest for free for the past 3 decades. And when the silence hit, it was deafening and beautiful. No more late-night guilt texts from mom asking if I could just spot them this once. No more passive-aggressive links from dad about investment strategies for professionals, as if my job wasn't professional enough. No more Claire guilt tripping me about how hard it is being a single mom when your brother suddenly turns into a stranger. It took less than a week for the first wave of peace to settle in. For the first time in years, I woke up without dread crawling up my spine. There were no alarms, no chaos, just sun through the window and silence. Blissful, holy silence. And then came something else, something I didn't expect. Freedom. Without the financial black hole that was my family, I suddenly had money. Real, tangible, not already promised to someone else money. I upgraded my mattress, bought real groceries, got a gym membership. I even booked a therapy appointment, something I'd been putting off for years because I couldn't afford it. Turns out, when you're not bankrolling your sister's fake emergencies and your dad's latest dumb investments, you can actually breathe. And when I told my therapist everything, the financial manipulation, the emotional erasure, the birthday after birthday they forgot, she looked me dead in the eye and said, "You weren't part of a family. You were part of a power structure. And you just resigned." That line, I kept replaying it in my head like a mantra. 3 weeks after graduation, I was deep into my new life. I joined a local trivia league, met a couple friends through work, started hitting the gym, meal prepping, and doing things that, honestly, I'd always seen other people enjoy, but never allowed myself to. Then one night, an email landed in my inbox. Subject: Your family wants to reconnect. At first, I rolled my eyes. Another attempt at guilt. Another plea. But I clicked it. It wasn't from Claire. Not mom. Not even dad. It was from Tyler, my nephew. The same kid I'd funded through 3 years of private tutoring, field trips, and early college credits. His message? Uncle D, I don't know what happened, but mom says you're mad at everyone, and I'm not allowed to talk to you. I just wanted to say thanks for everything. You're the reason I even got into school. I hope you're okay. I stared at that screen like it had slapped me. Not because it was manipulative, but because for the first time in years, someone in that family spoke to me like I was a human, not a service. And you know what I did? I didn't respond. Not because I didn't care, but because I finally did about myself. Word must have spread, because the next week, Dad showed up at my apartment. I didn't open the door, just stood at the peephole, watching this man, this storm of disappointment and control, holding a Tupperware of something that looked vaguely like lasagna. He knocked. Twice. Then muttered, "You're making a mistake, son." I waited until I heard him shuffle away. Only then did I open the door and take the container inside. I let it go. It felt symbolic. They tried again. Claire sent flowers. Cheap ones. With a note that said, "We all make mistakes. Don't let pride ruin this." Funny how my boundaries were now called pride. Then mom sent a letter. Handwritten. Long, messy. Half guilt. Half manipulation. 1 part sob story. 2 parts delusion. Families fight, but we always come back together. Don't throw away your roots. Roots? Lady, I was the soil. I never replied. It's been 6 months. 6 glorious, silent, drama-free months. I finally started my master's program. Fully paid. By me. I moved into a bigger place. One with an office I didn't have to share with guilt. I stopped apologizing for putting myself first. And slowly, people noticed. My boss commented that I seemed lighter, more focused. A coworker asked me out. I said yes. We laughed until 1 a.m. over tacos. I didn't mention my family once. Not because I was hiding them, but because they no longer define me. Last week, I got a DM on LinkedIn. It was from Claire's ex, Tyler's dad. Weird, right? He said he'd heard what happened, that he was sorry, that he always knew Claire had a way of burning bridges and blaming the ashes on someone else. Then he added something I'll never forget. Tyler's not like her. He talks about you all the time. He told me he wants to be like you. I sat with that for a long time. Because for the first time, I realized. Maybe I had made a difference. But I didn't need to be used to do it. I didn't need to bleed myself dry to matter. I didn't need to be the family hero. I just needed to be free. I wasn't the failure. I was their escape plan. They never thought I'd actually walk away. They thought I'd simmer, cool off, crawl back. Because I always did. I was their emergency contact. Their human savings account. We're out of options, let's call him person. But this time, I didn't just walk. I closed the door, changed the locks, and paved over the driveway. I spent years carrying them, and now I was learning to walk without weight. It was strange at first, like waking up in a new apartment. Everything familiar, but different. Lighter. Still, no phone buzzing with guilt. No bank apps blinking red from emergency transfers. My calendar didn't have babysit for Claire, send check to mom, or cover rent again. It just said live. So I did. I filled my days with me. I enrolled in my master's. Started running again. Real running. The kind where your lungs burn, but you feel more alive than ever. I started dating. Someone kind, grounded. Someone who didn't care about family pedigrees or messy history. And therapy? Game changer. I told my therapist everything. The missed birthdays. The family photos I was left out of. The graduation no one came to, followed by a road trip celebration I funded but wasn't invited to. She said something that hit me like a thunderclap. You were raised to believe love must be earned. But real love doesn't keep score or invoices. That day, I cried for the first time in years. Then I went home, looked in the mirror, and whispered, "You don't owe them a single thing." A month later, a package showed up. No return address. Inside was a frame. A photo I'd never seen. Me in my graduation robe, standing alone near the campus fountain. And on the bottom mat, handwritten, "He did it without us." And that's the part that scares them. Uncle Ray, the only person who ever told me the truth. The only one who left this toxic family before it ate him alive. He hadn't reached out in years, but somehow, he knew. That picture now hangs above my desk. Centered. Framed. Unapologetic. Claire tried again. I was in line at a bookstore when I saw her name on my screen. I let it ring. Then, 2 days later, I ran into her at a coffee shop. She looked tired. Worn. Like someone who'd been carrying guilt disguised as anger for too long. Tyler was with her. Taller now. Quieter. Something in his eyes had changed. Claire said, "He still talks about you." I looked at him. He didn't smile. But he didn't look away either. She added, "He's starting to see what I never did." I nodded. "Good. Dinner?" she asked, hesitant. "Just the three of us. No pressure." I thought about all the nights I'd eaten alone, funding their dinners. And I said, gently, "Maybe someday. But not now." I looked at Tyler. "Take care of yourself. No one else will." He nodded. This time, slowly. Like he understood more than his age should allow. Then came Mom. A long letter in careful cursive. Pages of it. She wrote about regret. About family misunderstandings. About never meaning to hurt me. She didn't apologize for what she said. She apologized for how I felt. Classic. I didn't write back. I donated the letter to the recycling bin. Dad tried next. Showed up at my building with a pie. Literal pie. Like this was Thanksgiving, and we were going to hug it out like characters on a sitcom. I didn't answer the door. He stood there for a while. I watched through the peephole. He eventually muttered, "You're overreacting," and walked off. And that, right there, was everything. They didn't miss me. They missed the utility I provided. But here's the twist they never saw coming. I'm not your power bank anymore. I'm not your financial oxygen. I'm not your invisible background character. 6 months later, everything's changed. I got a raise. I moved into a place with real sunlight, a reading nook, and silence that feels earned, not empty. I got a dog, named him Ray, after the only family member who ever showed me kindness without a receipt attached. I sleep better. I laugh louder. I look in the mirror and see someone I actually like. And Tyler? He sent me a message. Short. Simple. Got a job. First paycheck. Thanks for showing me how to do it alone. No ask. No strings. Just respect. It was all I ever wanted. This is what they never understood. I didn't cut them off because I hated them. I did it because I finally loved myself. Because you can't heal in the same house that made you sick. Because sometimes, family isn't who shares your name. It's who honors your worth. And mine is no longer negotiable. You're not selfish for saying no. You're not cruel for protecting your peace. You're not broken because your family failed to love you properly. You're just finally free. And when I toast now, it's not to them. It's to me. To the quiet ones who carried too much. To the overlooked who paid the price. To the just helpers who built empires. To the scapegoats who finally learned to fly. We're not coming back. We graduated.